We're getting to a point where knowledge work is dying. As these tools progress, it's going to be harder and harder to justify hiring a human being to do the work of the technology. By the time it happens to you, it'll be too late. So we got to get prepared for it. What's up, y'all? Thank you. First of all, I just want to congratulate all of y'all who are standing on business all 2023. Welcome to the future. Y'all made it. I'm so proud of y'all, right? I want to, I felt like 2023 was kind of abusive in a way. It was a whole lot of ups and downs. We went through like the really high highs, really low lows. To be honest, we had to lay off some of our employees, right? Inflation increased our costs, sometimes 2 to 10x, right? But then also, we raised millions of dollars. We launched into one of the largest beauty retailers in the United States, right? And we had an overall successful year, right? And so the future is here. I'm proud of y'all for making it. And let's get into one of the things that got me super excited in 2023. So the future really has been here for about a year. I don't know if y'all know, but 2023 was the year of generative AI, right? I remember sitting here in Game Plan in January of last year, and we were just kind of whispering about like, ChatGPT, y'all heard about that? What does it do? Cool. But then by March, I'm kicking it with Coach John, and we're talking about how to make fully AI automated businesses. That's how fast it was moving, right? ChatGPT was the tool that changed the world. Speaking of change, let me change it up a little bit, all right? ChatGPT was the tool that changed the world. One of the fastest growing apps of all time. You guys know, almost 100 million users before anyone else. It went viral, right? Shout out to, I love this graph. Y'all see that dip in the middle? Shout out to all the college students who went home for the summer and just stopped cheating on their homework with ChatGPT. Like, could you imagine being the marketer responsible for like growth during that time? It was like, I'm in his man's whole career. Like he was sweating. But ChatGPT was just the start, right? ChatGPT launched a wave of new AI tech, right? There were almost 12,000 new AI apps launched last year, right? Alicia said it yesterday, it's like drinking from a fire hose. I was overwhelmed, and if I was overwhelmed, and I'm in this stuff, I know y'all were overwhelmed, right? It feels like a lot. New heat dropping every other week like a rat beef. It's crazy. OpenAI was just kind of the start. Google jumped in on it, Microsoft jumped in on it. And the key thing here is that there's a conversation that's kind of going unsaid, right? Generative AI is a big business now, right? Generative AI startups raised over $50 billion. Lamar talks about it all the time. I got the shirt. I know some of y'all got it too. Follow the money. Let's follow the money for a little bit, right? In last year, we had $1 trillion company, newly minted, NVIDIA. They make the chips that make the LLMs work, to make ChatGPT work, all those things. And then just a week and a half ago, Microsoft became the biggest company in the United States, supplanting Apple, mostly because they invested $13 billion into OpenAI, right? And if you think Apple not gonna get their lick back, you crazy. Right? And Amazon hasn't jumped into the space yet. Meta is on the way. And if you think 2023 was crazy, 2024 will be even bigger. So what does this really mean for us? I don't want us to be left out of the wealth conversation that is going on in the AI space, right? I, without any exaggeration, believe that we are experiencing, now it's not coming, we are experiencing the largest shift in wealth of our lifetimes. The largest, and it's going to be built on the backs of generative AI. Let's put some context to that, right? There are two things that cause every major shift in wealth. Anybody know them? Cheap labor or disruptive technology. Anybody know how America became the richest country in the world? Say that one more time. Cheap labor, AKA slavery, AKA us. Right? We went from slavery to the industrialization, disruptive technology, back to urbanization, cheap labor, then to computerization, disruptive technology, then globalization, cheap labor, then back to the internet era that we're in right now. And what makes AI so different is that it is cheap labor that is also disruptive tech, right? It's going to have a multiplier effect. That's how I think about it. Generative AI is labor. It does things. It creates things. It's labor. So how do you adapt to disruptive tech that is cheap labor? Cento. Welcome to the age of infinity, right? The age of infinity. I keep this little thing on me. Reminds me we are in the age of infinity, infinite abundance, right? The age of infinite creativity. The cost of producing new things is quickly approaching zero. The cost to create things is approaching zero. And in that new world, I want you all to be ready to survive these infinity wars. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. And now, I know you're like, well, who is this handsome young man? I thought he made flaxseed gel. Like, why is he telling me about robots and infinity wars? I get it. Bear with me. Before I was an entrepreneur, I was a scientist, right? I studied economics and psychology, and I worked as a researcher at Chicago Booth School of Business. The director of my lab group was Dr. Richard Thaler, who wrote an amazing business book called Nudge. If you don't know about it, I highly recommend it, right? And I also highly recommend, if you've never been yelled at by a Nobel Prize winner, it is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It changed me forever, all right? And then I discovered my superpower while I was a scientist. Through the power of ADHD, I can learn anything. That is my superpower. And I used that superpower to start a social network for women with natural hair using winnings I got from Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. That's me and Cedric the Entertainer, who, according to Cat Williams, is not funny, right? And in learning how to build that first business, I learned how to build websites, I learned how to program, and then I talked to a mentor, but by the way, that business failed, didn't make any money, it cost us money. Right? But I learned so much. And then I talked to a mentor who said, hey, same things that you're doing to build that business, they pay me $50 to $150 an hour to do at big companies. I was like, word, where they do that at? Let me see what's to that. And so I became a programmer and worked for some of the biggest companies in America. And so that's how I broke into tech. And I did that for several years before starting these two very successful 7-figure beauty brands along with my partner. We collected a bunch of accolades over the years, Shark Tank, Forbes 30 Under 30, all that great stuff. But the one I am most, go ahead, clap it up. Thank you. But the one thing that I am most proud of is this one. I got to stand on this stage 6 years into the mastermind. When we started joining the TSP community, we were making $3,000 a month. And I walked across the stage as one of the first 8-figure award winners in TSP history. And the thing that I want to do is, because this community has given so much to me, my goal is to give back to you today. So let's get into it. It's a hard truth that nobody's really talking about when it comes to AI. And I can best sum it up with this picture. Anybody got one of these in their house? Listen, I come from a long line of hoarders. I told myself I was gonna break that generational curse, but if it's got a dope infomercial, I got it, and I don't use it. It stays in the cabinet. I don't know when that thing fell over, but I was like, you know what? Authenticity, I'm not gonna clean it up or nothing. I don't know who put the waffle maker back dirty. I got beef with that, but it was probably me. All right? So a lot of the discourse reminds me of that picture. A lot of discourse around AI reminds me of that picture. Everybody is obsessed with the best AI tool, finding the best AI tool. Anybody want to know what that is? Anybody got a guess? Y'all smart. Like, young, gifted, and black over here? Like, yeah, the one you use. There is no tool as valuable as the one you actually use. If you're not using it, it's not valuable. And we're still very, very early in our usage of these tools, right? Only about half of the United States have even really heard about generative AI. And of that half, only about 24% have used it. And of that 24%, how many of y'all used it like once or twice and then didn't log in, forgot your password, your credit card expired and then you didn't pay the monthly fee for ChatGPT Premium, right? It's just me? No? All right, yeah. I know y'all not using it every day. Stop playing. We aren't participating. So we will get left behind, and I don't want that for y'all. Right? So it's gonna be two types of companies: the companies that embrace AI, or the companies that get defeated slowly and die in the Infinity Wars. Right? So the key here is adoption. Adoption is the answer. I want to work with you all to develop a strategy on how your company can best use AI tech now to win in your business. So let's start at the top. What's the most important job in your organization when it comes to implementing new technology? Does anyone have this job? No? Maybe just me? CTO, or Chief Innovation Officer, CIO. Maybe you don't have chiefs in your office, you don't want people on your board, you don't want people in leadership positions, but there has to be someone in your organization whose responsibility it is to implement this new technology. Because if it's not someone's responsibility, it's not gonna, what? Not gonna get done. All right, so let's get in the right mindset. How do we think like a CTO? The job of a CTO is the tech strategist. Your job is to innovate, bring new technology into your company that will solve problems, that will generate efficiencies for your business, and then continually training and improving your team on the utilization of these tools, right? Your goal as CTO is leverage. You're gonna use these tools to grow the wealth of the business. You're gonna use these tools to find ways to win. That's your goal. So there are 5 key strategies that you can use today to start this adoption process of AI. You're gonna prep the transition, disrupt yourself, build your tech stacks, rapid prototyping products and services, and then automating everything. We'll get into each one of those as we go. Number 1, we're gonna prep the transition. Anytime you introduce new technology into your organization, there's this thing we call friction, right? There's going to be friction. So the biggest impediment to scaling your business and the largest source of friction is who? You. It's me, really. To be honest, it's me, right? And the one way you want to disrupt yourself, get out of your own way so that you can now focus on implementing these tools, because I know it's me. I'm busy doing all the day-to-day stuff. I don't have time all the time to start implementing these tools. So first step, get your SOPs in order. Easy way to do that, use a tool called Scribe. It's like Loom, right? You video record your face, screen record, and it tracks your clicks. It builds the SOP for you using a AI transcription of your voice, creates a knowledge base that you can share with your team, and it is almost infinitely scalable. You do something once, you hand it off, you train on it, and you never do it again. Get out of your own way so you can start working on these things. Now, the other thing is to duplicate yourself, especially if you are the forefront of content in your business. And if y'all weren't here last night, you missed an absolute gold mine of nuggets. Like, nuggets per minute was crazy with Alicia, one of the top AI trainers in the country. I don't think I know anyone who does it better. It ain't me. I highly recommend you go to the AI Tech Summit that Alicia and Lamar are doing, but the goal there will be for you to duplicate yourself with these tools so that you're not in the day-to-day content creation. One of the ways we've done this in our business is in a very similar way to what she's done, is we created systems around how content can be produced, right? So you answer questions on video, the team gets your voice, you share B-roll that you got on your cell phone, like I know you got it, share it with your team so they can start building videos without you needing to be there, building content without you needing to be there. Same thing with your voice as well. Alicia is gonna be the best person for that. And another easy win for you is to use the tech you know. Really, really easy win. I said this last year on Ace's podcast, but every single piece of technology you use in your company right now, if it doesn't have it already, it will have AI features by the end of this year, preferably within 3 to 6 months. And what's great about that is that you can capture efficiencies almost right away. Reduce that friction, reduce those transition costs, speed up adoption. You don't have to retrain your team. You just need to use the features that are there. And the way I do that is I am constantly taking demos for the new features and the new pieces of technology within my organization. That's one of my key job functions, finding ways to win using the tools we have and exploring new tools, right? Although one of my favorite tools right now is Gorgeous. They have a new AI feature that allows you to take all your existing automations and macros and create an AI agent on your website that can automate your customer service, right? I do not suggest you creating your own custom chatbots to do this. If y'all didn't see it in the news a couple weeks ago, Toyota dealership did this. Prompt engineer hacked it and agreed to make the customer service agent agreed to sell him a truck for $1. Do not put your own, do not do this, right? Do not do this. It's really, really early. So using a tool like Gorgeous can help you. Don't just put raw AI agents out on your website. It ain't ready yet, all right? Disrupt yourself or be disrupted. If you're not thinking about ways to get out of your own way, thinking about ways that technology will impact your business right now, by the time it happens to you, it'll be too late. So, big question I always get, will AI replace jobs? We used to say this fun phrase like, oh no, AI is not gonna replace jobs, but somebody using AI, that's sweet, but AI is gonna replace jobs, right? It's already happening. Of the firms that use AI, 30% of them have already laid off their staff. It's happening at the really big tech companies already. Thousands upon thousands of jobs are already gone, right? And that's because they could replace them with AI. We're getting to a point where knowledge work is dying, right? As these tools progress, it's gonna be harder and harder to justify hiring a human being to do the work of the technology. You might have a fiduciary responsibility not to hire people really soon. So we gotta get prepared for it. And the easy way to do that is to identify your workflows, right? The way we can do that is ask yourself a series of questions. And if you're answering yes to a lot of these things, your job might not be safe. Do you generate text, audio, code, whatever? Do you conduct research? Are you presenting knowledge that isn't proprietary or unique? Are you generating imagery, multimedia? Are you analyzing data from easily accessible sources? Are you the middleman between automated services? I got paid $50 an hour to download CSV file from one piece of technology and upload it into another one. I don't know why they paid me to do that, but I was not complaining. Those jobs are going to be gone, right? And then another key question you wanna ask is, are you actually building relationships between real people? Because that might be the one key thing that saves you in addition to this next thing, which is not all jobs will be gone, right? We used to think that, technology would automate the factories and things like that first, but come to find out, humans write and create things in patterns that computers can easily break down. So instead of the factory workers getting replaced, it is the copywriters. Sorry. So let's identify our players. We're not gonna get rid of everybody. You're going to need humans in your organization to satisfy a few key roles. Because AI is the great equalizer. There was a study that came out that I loved. It took McKinsey consultants and paired them up with AI tools, and it found something very, very interesting. You could get a 40% increase in that worker's efficiency, in that worker's effectiveness, their output, by pairing them with an AI tool like ChatGPT, right? But one of the things you'll have to notice is that those benefits aren't shared equally, right? The people who got the best benefit were the lower performing employees, the cheaper employees, right? The A players on your team, they don't necessarily need these tools to be successful. So I came up with a strategy that has 2 tiers of AI adoption in your organization. I call it the C players and A players. And you're like, Tim, where are the rest of the letters? This doesn't make sense. But to be honest, I've never seen a B player working in a small business. We're not stable enough. They work for the government. They work for Fortune 500 companies. Yeah. And if you have D players on your team, do what Lamar says, release them to their destiny. And then if you have F players, God forbid, they are for the streets. Get rid of them. All right. Then AI, I like to think about it like this. It's the best intern you've ever had. Freddie, shout out to Freddie, got me into this show called Suits. I love it. Got these two lawyers, Mike and Harvey, right? C player, Mike, he's great, but he's young, he's fresh, he's new, he lacks experience, he doesn't have taste. Those people in your organization are cheap, but they become the executors and the researchers using these tools every day. You pair them with a tool. Imagine if you took your lower level employees and made them 40% more effective right away. How would that impact your organization, right? And then the A players, they're experts. They have taste. Their job is to set strategy, to make decisions, to curate the outputs of the technology that the C players are producing. You pair these two together, you have leverage beyond what they could do individually, right? And that's how you need to think about it. Your A players are the curators, the strategy makers. Your C players are the implementers. Give them the tools they need to succeed, right? I always think about it like this. I am training to build a cyborg army, a cyborg, human plus technology, right? That's how you're gonna win the AI wars. You need you a cyborg army. And you're gonna conduct these trainings regularly. You're pairing them with technology regularly, right? And the technology, we wanna keep it very, very simple. So in tech, we have this thing called a tech stack. That is all the technology you use in your organization to get the jobs done. You can separate it by workflow, department, but either way, everybody in their day uses a set of technology. We call that a stack, right? And what I like to do is be very, very efficient with your tech stack. Focus on the essential few tools you need to succeed. If you get overwhelmed with paralysis by analysis or the paradox of choice, you will not implement this, you will not be as effective. So focus on the very simple few tools you need to get the job done. I'm gonna give some recommendations for a few different key workflows in your content that are really, really easy to do. Again, also recommend checking out the AI Summit coming up. ChatGPT is great for research and planning. You can fine tune it to your voice and to your needs, or you can create custom GPTs relatively easily to then conduct things like market research, to plan out content schedules, and to create readily available content for you. Another tool I like to implement within ChatGPT is AI PRM. Prompt engineering is dying. If you're not a prompt engineer, you don't necessarily need to write your own prompts. Get them from an expert. AI PRM is a plugin into ChatGPT that collects all of the best prompts from the best prompt engineers in the world. Plug it and play it. Don't waste time trying to figure it out. Eventually, you won't even need it, right? And then I also like Google Bard for research. It's really great because it's connected to the internet. It also has the backing of Google's SEO program. If you are really trying to rank on Google, do your SEO research using Google Bard. It has a slight advantage there, right? Copywriting, same kind of stack. I just throw on Grammarly at the end of that for editing so that my team can kind of see that, but you should have a great input into your fine-tune ChatGPT. All right, graphic design. One of my new favorite apps is Canva. Now, if you didn't see what they have a set of AI tools that makes graphic design accessible for just about anybody. I thought I couldn't do graphic design. I can use Canva though, right? I feel like, man, somebody needs to be paying me to do graphic design. Like, what's going on? I missed my calling. But yeah, you can combine Canva with ChatGPT and Midjourney to do graphic design. Those are just 3 tools. You don't want to overcomplicate these things, right? And chances are you probably already use Canva. For video production, this one has been the killer for us, right? Because it was one of the first tools we implemented, but it's extremely, extremely useful, especially given the strategy that's working for us right now. Alicia talked about this, but when we create new ads, our goal, as we duplicate ourselves, is to get a bunch of general things that we can put together and recut over and over and over again. We do the same thing with our customers, get them to answer questions on video, cut that in with B-roll. Opus Clips puts it all together in seconds, gives it captions and emojis, and can post it. That's a video editor job gone, right? And then if you are new into editing, you don't have a video editor on staff, highly suggest you learning CapCut. Easily accessible, really, really cool tool, and it has its own AI features, but it has also a lot of templates straight out of the box that you can use, right? And the next step is gonna be rapid prototyping. So as you start implementing these tech stacks, what you will start to see is your ability to execute goes way, way, way up, right? So your new job will be rapid prototyping products and services. I have a phrase that I keep: launch everything now, right? If you can create quickly, what excuse do you have to keep sitting on the ideas in your head, right? What excuse do you have for not launching the book, the product, the course, right? It takes jobs that took hours, days, weeks, cuts it down to minutes and seconds. Launch everything. Because if you've ever heard any entrepreneur worth their salt, they will tell you you could launch it and it'll still fail, right? But if you don't launch it, you never get the data you need to make it better. And that's where the key is. Launch it, test it, learn from it, improve it, right? I have a little workflow. I'm able to launch a new product every single week, and we have physical products, right? All I really need is for my team to grab a label, and sometimes I don't even need to do that if I increase my Photoshop skills a little bit, right? But I can take a product fresh off the line, take a picture on my cell phone in my desk, put that in the Canva, clean up the background and the foreground with AI, put it on another background that makes it look pretty and is in line with our branding, mock it up on one of Canva's templates, launch it, and start selling it in 15 minutes after it hits the line. You can check it out on Instagram. I do it all the time now. It's like, why hire a photographer, right? The output becomes the input when the cost of creativity is zero. The output becomes the input. Don't wait to have an idea and work it out and make it perfect in your head. Create the thing, give it to your team to create, launch it, test it, build on it. Eliminate expensive campaigns, right? It used to take us weeks, months to launch a new product. You have to do a photo shoot, which sometimes we fly in the best photographer. You gotta get models, they set up backdrops, you gotta rent the Airbnb, right? And then they gotta take it and edit it. It takes 2 weeks, right? You get that back. Then you have to do all of the other content generation, creating the product descriptions, right? You have to create the products, launch it, create the launch plan, write the emails, do the ads, all that stuff. Used to take weeks and months. Now it takes minutes and hours. What excuse do you have not to launch your ideas? Don't keep them in your head. Get them out into the world. We're in the age of infinite creativity. That is going to be your limiting factor. You have infinite creativity, the only limiting factor becomes how quickly you can implement. All right? And then the next step, after you've done all of this, is to automate everything. If you guys weren't here on Mastermind Day, you missed Clayton Mass, the founder of Keep. He said something that blew me away: standard automation procedures. In the future, everything in your business will be able to be automated with AI, and your only job will be creativity. Your only job will be curation, right? Can you imagine what that's like? Because this is what we're doing right now. Me and my friends are building things like this. Because you have OpenAI has an open API, I can connect products and services, if you're familiar with Zapier, using this tool called Make. Make is just cheaper than Zapier. I like it, it's just cheaper, right? But it allows us to build out essentially AI bots and agents that work automatically in our businesses to do these workflows that typically would require 2, 3, 4 people, professional photographers, all these different things. For example, one of the things I'm working on right now is an AI blog writer bot, right? All I have to do is find the key. Actually, take that back. I can implement a step in there that researches the keyword, right? Sends that to ChatGPT, fine-tuned to the voice of our brand. That gets an article created. I can use another tool to edit it, and then another tool right into that same workflow to post it, and another tool to write the email that sends out the notification about it. And all of that can happen automatically. No human involvement. That's the future. That's where we're going. There's going to be literally companies that are one dude, an executive assistant in the Philippines, and these AI tools. That's it, right? Because AI agents are the future. I kind of mentioned it, but this is already happening. If you aren't familiar, I'll tell you a little bit about what AI agents are. These are essentially programs that leverage generative AI to run themselves. They prompt themselves, and all you have to do is give them a goal. What you see on the screen right now is a really interesting tool. It's just an interface. The code is on the back end. And what it does is every department in this company is a set of AI agents, a set of prompts, and you give them a goal. Say, I want to build a software that does X. Well, the documentation team will pull the requirements. You give them a goal. The coding team, the design teams will work together to build that tool. You can have a testing team to kill bugs, and you can run that on a loop until the software is ready. Then the documentation team comes back and tells you how they built it, and then you launch it. And all you did was say, I want a tool that does X, and now you have a SaaS business in about 4 hours, right? That's what's happening, and it's only gonna get faster. It's only gonna get better. Everything you see in AI now is as worse as it's going to get. And if it's as worse as it's going to get now, and it's already revolutionary, imagine the disruptive force that is about to happen. And I want you all to be ready for this new world, this new future, right? The future belongs to the cyborgs. The future belongs to the people, to the organizations who adopt these AI tools, make them a part of themselves and the DNA of the companies that they operate in, so that they can pour fire on their profits, so that they can steal market share before it's too late. And I want you all to succeed, and I'll be here to support you through that journey. Thank you very much. All right. I wanted to save a lot of time for questions. I did it. I finished early. First question over here. Let's do it. Let's chop it up. Because I know everybody has very, very specific questions. More than happy to answer them. I think we have extra time, about 11 minutes. Let's do it.
I'm Dr. Tracy, America's burn surgeon and your skin's best friend. And the question I have is actually not in relation to my business. What you've done has definitely opened my eyes to the possibilities. But as a physician, and I take care of the pediatric population, how do we teach our young people to start incorporating AI without eliminating that ability for them to independently think, but not hindering them from also riding this wave of technology?
Mm-hmm. So you have to think about what it takes to be successful using these tools, right? It does take some expertise to build up taste. Right, you have to know what a good output is and a bad output is. That takes some experience, right? So what I would say is that person, that new person, needs to be paired with a mentor who is an expert. The tools, as much as we want to kind of demonize them and say they're gonna make us lazy, to be honest, it's already happening. There's already a lot of lazy, low-effort content going around, but it gets attention, it gets eyes. And so our goal is going to be to educate, to train those students on how, those students, young people, team members, junior members in our organizations. We have to take the time to train them and build them up in our expertise. But ultimately, you could just pair them with someone who has that expertise. And as they use the tools, they will get better. Their taste will develop over time because they're getting constant feedback, right? They're getting feedback at a rate at which we did not get, right? You used to, if you were a copywriter, you might write 2 to 3 emails a week. You could do that in a day now. Imagine if you wrote 10 emails, ChatGPT wrote 10 emails, you put it into your flows, you tested them, you saw which ones worked, and then you started to fine tune how you treat the algorithm. You would pick up those skills eventually, right? So it's just a matter of time, but I would pair them with a mentor and have them start doing the work so they get better. Over here.
Hey, thanks. My name is Colin Yearwood. I help my clients double their sales with confident and authentic sales conversations through a program. It's called the Sales Coaching Gym. So I'm wondering what AI tools are available to help in the sales process, maybe pre-qualification, and also what's coming down the road to eliminate sales calls.
Yeah, so I'm very interested in a new set of tools that they're voice AI tools that actually will do your sales calls for you. There's a tool right now, it's called Air AI. I've done some of the demo calls. They're still a little early, the voices can sound robotic, but essentially you fine tune it on your sales process. It uses a Whisper API to talk, uses things like 11 Labs to generate the voice, and the tool will call qualified leads and engage them in conversation and make those sales for you. Automated sales forces are coming. I don't know if you've seen it, but I've gotten a few of those robocalls already. Those aren't real people, right? And it's coming. So you can use tools like Air AI and get you a fully AI workforce to run your sales program. But then also, I would want to make sure that like you as the leader are making sure that your offer is good, right? The thing that's going to set you apart isn't necessarily the performance of those agents, it's going to be the value of your offer. So you curate that value and then use the tools to do the outreach.
Thank you.
No problem.
Hi, Tim. Thank you so much for this engaging and really informative presentation. My name is Camille Roberson, and I'm the founder of Atlas Park Consulting. We rescue overwhelmed CEOs from operational chaos so that they can add more dollars to their bottom line. You mentioned something about, in particular, are you building relationships between people? And you mentioned that in the sense of you may be okay, your job may be okay. We know AI is taking over and there's a lot of jobs that will be eliminated. Can you talk specifically around how we can future-proof our businesses by building relationships with more people and what that looks like?
Absolutely. So I think right away, the things that are going to keep you in your businesses are going to be the relationships that you make with real people. Creating content with AI is great, but that just gets you attention. That doesn't necessarily get you the relationship. And so if you aren't already doing it, you need to be building a community around your business or the products and services that you offer, because that community is going to be able to sustain you and beyond the competition being able to come in and steal your market share. You want to be creating fans, supporters of your brands, of your companies, and that's what's going to keep you going, right? Just relying on tools to produce content might get you attention and sales in the short term, but building community will keep you alive long term and allow you to capture market share. So you get that initial attention. On the back end, you're still going to have to use real people to build real connections. And I'll honestly say, one of the trends you're probably going to see is as we get into this new infinite content world, what's going to become more valuable is not the AI generated content, but the content that is connecting real people. People are going to be hungry for it, right? And so one of the things I encourage is if you haven't started building your community, start it now, and then leverage that to build rabid fans who love and support you and your business, and that will allow you to succeed long term.
Thank you.
Angela.
Hey, Tim.
Hey.
Thank you so much. This was so informative, and I was looking forward to, you getting on that stage and dropping this knowledge. And I just thank God that I'm in this room, because the things that we're learning here about AI, you're not going to just pick this up. Like, this is deliberate force feeding of information that we can use to, just propel our businesses, and thank God for this room. 2023 was hard, and a lot of us have to admit that it was hard, and we're just happy to still be here. I think that we took Bamboo. I'm the owner and founder of Bamboo, luxury bedding and pajama company.
Best sheets I've ever used. I got them in rotation, sets on sets, pajama, all of it.
Get rid of that cotton. You don't need that anymore.
Messes up the hair.
Exactly. So one of the things that we did during 2023 when we were trying to navigate our way through was we really delved into AI and making sure that we could put some of these processes in place. We're not riding the wave, we're in the wave. We are in that wave. So I feel like we have really taken hold of what you guys have been giving us. But the one thing that I feel like I keep hitting up against as a product-based business, I love the idea that you talked about. You take the picture of the product and you put it on the site within 15 minutes. My biggest bottleneck is because I have apparel, I'm stuck with, okay, now I got to get a model, I got to get a location, I got to get the photographer. But I want to hear from you. I'd love to hear what your thought is on being able to use the AI opportunity to create that content when it's an apparel-based business.
Sure. Actually, Coach John has a really great tools around this. Midjourney right now is getting to the point where it's very easy to create stable characters, stable models for you to use as assets in your business. So you don't need real models anymore. They can be people who do not exist that you can then virtually put your products and apparel on and manipulate them in any kind of photo shoot you want. That technology exists right now. Right? I can tell you a little bit more about that tech stack, but essentially, you can also then now animate them in videos. I don't know if you guys are also familiar with, there's a rise of AI influencers. These are not real people, but they're AI-generated models that we've created they've been created consistently. They do things like brand deals, right? They wear apparel from other companies. It's happening right now. So you don't need to hire models anymore. Like, you can do that. And then that shouldn't be the barrier. What you'll probably face is supply chain constraints, right? The industry that has not kept up well with it is manufacturing, right? So you might be able to launch and scale other products, but you're gonna be limited by how quickly your factories can produce those things. And so that's where I would kind of focus my time on trying to get as many other vendors.
I solved that problem, being able to get short orders quickly, but I need to get them shot and posted as quick as I'm getting them. So that's
generate your own AI models and then use them in your photo shoots, and that way you can do that very quickly.
I love it. Thank you so much.
All right. I got maybe one more. Is that it? All right, thank you all very much.
Give it up for Tim Lewis.